Okay.
I can just make a comment that if you're missing the meeting materials, the TV's not.
Yeah, just this meeting.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mayor Shave, and it's Wednesday, September 27th, 2023 at 6:30 PM, and I call the Aberdeen City Council meeting to order. Deputy City Clerk, will you take a roll call, please?
Ellis? Here. Francie?
Sure.
Gaken?
Here.
Catchman?
Here.
Lawrence?
Here.
Mackey?
Here.
Are we on the computer?
Yeah, just the TV turned off.
Here.
Okay.
You can circle back to that.
He said here, I think it's.
Oh, okay.
Morrison?
Here.
Bertini?
Here.
Ross?
Here.
Shaw? Here. Sedor?
Here.
Taylor?
Here.
Shave?
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would everybody please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
Indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Just one comment on tonight's agenda, the preliminary revenue estimates. If you did not receive them in your packet, they are on your desk for that agenda item, and I move that we approve tonight's agenda. Second.
Motion was made, seconded to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Are there any comments from the public tonight? Anyone from the public want to come up to the podium? Give your name and ward number, driver's license.
Hi, John Barclay, citizen, 1717 West 7th Street. I think that's So I figured if I could be a buffoon at the last time I was at the podium and be a jerk to the mayor and the city council, I should come to the podium and apologize. My behavior last time was inappropriate. So if you know what I'm talking about, thank you. If you don't, never mind. But I do have, and I think it overshadowed the importance of the message that I wanted to bring across, which was 6th Street and the new little thing that you guys got there, or that the city put there with the speed. The speed's not is not the problem. It's the street itself. It's a 3-lane street. And people are parking on the grass, people are parking on the street, people are parking all over the place, and it's a gauntlet. I've seen city officials driving down the middle. I've seen police driving down the middle. That sign doesn't work at 50 miles an hour, can confirm. No, just joking. But the simplest solution on Canyon Court overpass, if you think of that as the east-west of my conversation, the dividing line, the west side of that, if you were to paint a parking space facing the east or facing the west of Canyon Court, and a parking line facing the west side of, or the east side of Canyon Court. So, you know, on the east side, that traffic that drives east on on 6th Street and the traffic that drives west on that side, just have people park opposite, and then you create 2 lanes. I would like to see a complete get rid of grass, the grog idea that I had, and drag the PUD into it where we build bulb outs around the utility poles so that people park on either side of the street. That's an expensive fantasy land idea, I get it. But I think a line of paint in the public works department just doing that would alleviate a lot of the stress driving down there, especially during this fall time when that westward and the eastward sun is just right in your faces. A couple times I've wanted to take pictures and put it on that beautiful screen of yours, because I do use it as a thoroughfare to my house, going on 7th Street sometimes. But that's basically all I wanted to say in the apology. So thank you very much, and hi, Josh.
Thank you. Anyone else, come on up to the podium.
Well, I am going to have to say speeding is a problem on 6th Street. I just got another video yesterday.
Will you just state your
Guy
name
doing
really
about
quick?
50 miles an hour. Oh, I'm sorry, my
Thank
name's
you.
Steve
Thank
Haywood.
you.
I live on 6th Street, 4th Ward. If you change the parking or only make one side parking, you're going to have a lot more speeders up there. That sign isn't working because there's no enforcement. You need to start having police up there writing tickets. I am tired of seeing people speed by there at 60 miles an hour. I mean, extremely fast. I have a video of a car slamming his brakes on. You can see it coming forward, and a deer being missed by inches, a baby deer. That could be a baby child, a baby human. We need law enforcement up there, and we need people to get tickets. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello, my name is Tabitha Zier. I live at 504 East First Street here in Aberdeen, and I'm here today to talk about what's happening behind where I live. I have lots of documentations here, pictures, I have videos as well of the house that's behind me that there's a lot of drug activity, a lot of drug use. I've had people walk, so I'm right by the old Joe's Deli that just shut down. In between that is my door, and my door, people use that as a walkway to go to the house that's directly right behind me for whatever activities that they are doing back there, which I do have pictures of people smoking methamphetamines, which go into my bedroom window, and I have a child, she is 14, that she's also been assaulted. This was about a little over a year ago. She was assaulted right at my front door due to the activity that is always happening right in front of me. I do live right next door to a methadone clinic as well, and I have so much, just trash that goes into my yard that is paraphernalia. I can't even walk my dog into my little front area because of the paraphernalia, like tin foil that's been smoked on. And of course, I'm not gonna let my child walk that dog right there. She has to walk the dog away from the home. I'm getting to a point now where I'm getting nervous about the weather. The weather is getting bad. That store has shut down next to me, and people like to camp under where there's awnings. My child leaves around 7:30 in the morning just to go to Aberdeen High School, which is about a block and a half away. And I'm getting to the point now where her protection is worth gold to me, obviously, for parents who understand that. It has also gotten to a point where I have been visibly in my kitchen doing dishes and someone has tried to break in. It has gotten to a point where I understand that law enforcement is very much hands are tied right now. I myself, I work in the juvenile system. I am a juvenile detention officer, and I understand that hands are tied when it comes to this kind of stuff that is happening, but it's so prevalent behind me and there's so much activity that I need to bring it to the city's attention at this point. So that's what I came to say.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if you'd like the pictures, I do have.
If you want to give them up, we'd like to have them.
Yes, ma'am.
Tabitha, could you tell me your address again, since, you mentioned it at
Yes.
first, but I missed. 504 East First.
Yes, that's 504 East. Yes, and it's a duplex, so there's 506 right next to me, that's vacant at the moment. The address of the house that's behind me is 504 and a half.
Okay.
It's something that must have been grandfathered in. The people that own my building do not own that building back there. You'll see in there that I also printed off the parcel where it says who owns that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public?
First of all, the speakers aren't working.
That speaker's not working?
Thing over there, he can't either. But anyway, just thought I'd let you know. So I just wanted to make a comment about the Aberdeen community events kiosks that are on Broadway and Wishkah. And I've been manager of those since 2012. Stacy Barnum knows the whole story and the history. And I just want people to know that they are available for anyone that wants to post any kind of events that happen in Grays Harbor, not just Aberdeen. And I'll gladly give anyone my email address or Facebook account, and they can contact me if they want me to post anything for them. But I think it's good for the community, and it serves a very good purpose. And I think that once we get started doing that, we can bring the arts in, and it just helps the whole community as a whole. And that's what I'd like to be known. And
what's your name?
I guess that's it.
What's your name?
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Gary Lamb. Who else?
All right, thank you very much.
What's that?
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, is there anyone else? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda.
Yes, next item on the agenda is the consent agenda, which consists of minutes from the September 13th, 2023 meeting and our accounts payable and payroll. I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion?
On the minutes, I wanted to make sure it was noted, if it's appropriate, that I returned to the meeting while we were in executive session. That was around 7:35 or so approximately. I think that should be noted.
We just make that correction if it's not there already.
I didn't see that reference.
He
so-
wasn't here for the adjournment, so it wasn't noted in the notes at all.
I was here for the adjournment, and I left around 5 minutes to 7. I returned about 40 minutes later, and then I was here for the adjournment.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Motion to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Then moving on to presentations. We have a presentation tonight from Tara from our finance.
Just the public hearing,
Public
it's under
hearing.
finance.
Oh, that's under finance, okay. We don't have any presentations then. Under mayor's report, I left it in my office. Let me think here, what was it about? Oh, the L&I office in downtown Aberdeen has closed, and they're moving to Monsanto. So they're still available if anybody's utilizing L&I online and on the phone. All the normal opportunities are still available. And they should be open in their new office within the next couple of weeks. And they didn't really state a whole lot, but basically the purpose is it's so much more efficient where they're moving to, cheaper, and they'll be open more days per week than they were here in the Aberdeen office. So that's all I have. Any council reports? Okay. Staff reports? City administrators report.
Thank you, Mayor. Today we conducted a cleanup downtown. It went very smoothly. Last week we participated in an exit interview with the state auditor's office. Pleased to say that the state Aberdeen received a clean audit report. That's very, very exciting. We were able, I would really like to thank the work of Becca Anderson during this time. She was the state auditor liaison. She was able to get documents to the state auditor in a very, very timely manner. She was very, very responsive to them, so thank you. She's a very, very large part and a reason why we were able to get a clean audit this time around.
Good job, Micah.
I would also like to point out that the vacant building program starts on October 1. We've already received a property owner that has paid their dues and things like that, so it's already kicking off. We have received a little bit of resistance, but I have faith that the group, Josh Paget and Lisa Scott, will be able to work through those and really educate and work with property owners as this program really kicks off. So if you have any questions, please let me know.
I just can't resist this, but say more about our audit exit where we had a clean audit. I think this is the first time, probably in 9, maybe 10 years, we've had a completely clean audit. So awesome. Stacy Barnum.
Stacy Barnum, Parks Director, thank you. I'll share my screen. Seems like there's a time delay. On the agenda tonight, I have 2 items. The first item is the approval of the contract with the Washington State Historical Society for receipt of the Capital Heritage Grant. That's for the architectural and engineering and design for 118 West Wishkah. And then we also have on the agenda items from the museum collection, both for accession and deaccession. So the Capital Heritage Grant, in March of 2022, the City Council authorized me to apply for the Capital Heritage Grant. That would allow the city to hire a consultant to provide architecture and engineering, design and permitting for the remodel of 118 West Wishkah, which is the building that is known as the Museum Building and also now the Visitor Information Center. So some highlights from the contract requirements, should we accept the funding, are that the building be held by the grantee for at least 13 years from the date of contract completion. That means we need to own the building for 13 years after the contract is completed. This grant is on a reimbursement basis, so as we spend the money, we will submit to the state for reimbursement. That this project will enable public access to history. That means all aspects of the building need to provide some type of historical component, whether it be having meeting rooms that have some artifacts in it, or there's rooms that are used for, say the Quinault Indian Nation wants to give some historical presentation, and then of course display of our artifacts. And then that performance under the contract be completed by June 30th of 2025. We will expend about $241,500. That is included in the budget for this year. We are using the $350,000 purchase of the building as part of our match. So in reality, we're getting reimbursed 33% of the $350,000 that we spent to buy the building. Then we're turning around, spending that money along with the additional money that we're getting from the state to hire the consultant. Did anyone have any questions? Capital Heritage Grant contract? All right, I did a good job on that one.
Good job.
Perfect. If you aren't aware, the museum board and the Friends of the Museum have started moving some of the artifacts over to 118 West Wishkah. This coming Saturday is a 40th anniversary celebration of the opening of the museum. And we've got some photos on there of city staff, museum board chair, George Donovan, and then some other volunteers. Looks like maybe John Larson is there. I see Doug Orr from the Friends. They had selected some items to bring over to 118 West Wishcott to start some window displays and to have on display for the celebration this Saturday. So if you haven't had a chance to walk by the building, you should, and check out the work that they've done. Turned out really nice, and I appreciate all the volunteer work. I wanted to make sure everyone knows that the city is now accepting lodging tax grant applications for the 2024 funding cycle. You must be a state and/or federal nonprofit entity or a tax exempt entity or government agency to be eligible for a grant. The applications are due by October 18th. You can get the application information on the city's website, aberdeenwa.gov. We've got a lodging tax committee page, and where the red arrow shows that on the bottom of the page are the 3 documents that you would need to complete your application. And I think that's it, unless anyone had any questions. All right, thank you.
The council member had a question earlier about some of the ideas to use the funding for. And just so everybody kind of has something to think about, the lodging tax funds, I think the number one thing that qualifies use of the lodging tax funds is this bringing people to stay in the lodging here, the motels and that sort of thing. The term heads in beds is what everybody uses usually. And if it's a project that provides heads in beds, that's probably one of the large criteria to qualify for some of these funds. Okay. So where are we now? We're moving to,
Another presentation.
Not yet. It's next.
It's like
Go
right
too far.
there.
Okay.
It's coming up.
we're moving on to request for council action, the Finance Department. Chair report by Councilmember Perugini.
This is the date set for the public hearing on the revenue source for the 2024 budget. I move that we open this.
Second. Motion was made seconded to open the public hearing on the 2024 budget. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The public hearing is now open.
Let me give a brief overview.
Yes, please.
Good evening, council. I'm Chair Nessa. I've been contacted to help the city through the budget process and absence of a finance director. This is a precursor to the upcoming discussion on property tax ordinance to occur in October. This is required by RCW to occur before the first Monday in October. So the focus of this presentation is on general fund resources and general fund revenues. So I've put a summary in your packet of the projections for 2024. These could change as we move through the process. They're preliminary numbers. A few highlights: the largest revenue source of the city is sales tax. That's projected to increase approximately 5% over 2023 projected actuals. This is still conservative. The city sales tax has gone up 7 to 8% over the last few years, year over year. So I think it's still a fairly realistic number. The other significant increase is in interest income, which is projected to go up over $2.3 million. That sounds like a very significant number. There's a couple different factors at play there. The first is that the interest rates have increased significantly over the past few years. So as early as January of 2022, the rate was less than 1%. Currently, it's paying over 5%. So that's interest revenue. The second factor is that the city currently has about half of its money invested in a local bank, paying less than 1%. Simply by moving that money into the state local pool, we can increase our interest earnings about 5 times on that money, and it's about $25 million, so it's big dollars we're talking about. And then the third change is reflective of the ordinance that's upcoming, resolution upcoming tonight, which would move all of the interest revenue to the general fund rather than allocating it across the funds. So these factors, we would expect an increase of about 9% over 2023 numbers. I'd be happy to take questions.
We have a pretty well-informed, satisfied council.
Yes.
Thank you, Tara. Okay. No questions. All right. We'll move on to reports.
Mr. Mayor, we need to close the.
Oh.
Have to move that we close the hearing.
I so move we close the public hearing.
Did anyone want to testify though? Is that the purpose of this?
Was there anybody who wanted to testify in the audience on the public hearing for the for the 2024 budget? See no one. There was a motion and seconded to close the public hearing. Any discussion? This was awkward.
We don't have a second.
Second.
Thank you.
Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Public hearing is closed.
Okay, next we have a request from Finance and the Park Director recommending that the City Council authorize the mayor to sign contract number 25 through 27 with the Washington State Historical Society for receipt of the Capital Heritage Grant. I move that we adopt this report.
I second.
Motion was made, seconded to adopt this report. Is there any discussion?
Mayor, just a correction, that's contract number 25-27.
Okay,
Okay,
okay. Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
and next we have a request from Finance and the City Administrator recommending that the City Council authorize a new policy on suspension and debarment. I move that we adopt this request.
Second?
Motion was made, seconded to adopt this report. Is there any discussion? Does everyone understand what this means?
This is a request from the state auditor's office to have this included. This was one of the policies that we received repeated findings for, so able to get this one passed, hopefully today.
It doesn't mean you're taking us all out to the bar after.
No, not that far, just D-bar.
A good one. Okay, any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, next we have a request from Finance and the City Administrator recommending the adoption of a resolution which authorizes the mayor to create a policy on the use of investment interest towards the general fund. I move that we adopt this one.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to adopt this resolution. Is there any discussion? Under discussion.
Just thank you heartily to staff for figuring this out and taking advantage of higher interest rates and bringing more money into the city.
So, yeah, thank you so much to Tara Dunford. She has made wonderful recommendations that will help really position the city in a more healthy financial state. So this is kind of coupled with the last resolution that was passed that authorized the mayor and I to be on the LGIP. So this would allow us to move money over. And then from there, any of the increased investment interest that we collect, that will go into the general fund, and that will make our general fund more healthy. So
we're talking about? The amount,
Yeah, the investment interest.
I know, but you want to say what the amount is?
Oh, yeah, I don't, I think she called it out.
I think the amount we're talking about here, at the moment, with the current percentages being paid, we're talking about $90,000 a month of additional interest that we'll receive, so. That's the kind of paycheck I need. Okay, any questions? Go ahead.
Just a quick comment, I apologize, it's blatantly obvious, but while this is really nice, I'm glad we're gonna be able to realize additional interest income. We also recognize that this is only good while interest rates remain where they are. And while it will help in the short term, this is not money we can rely on for the long term. Even I'm hoping interest rates come back down, so.
Okay, anyone else? This was a resolution, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
This will be resolution 2023-23.
Okay, moving on to public safety, chair report by Councilmember Ross.
Thank you, Mayor Shea. So we're starting with the City of Aberdeen Fire Department this evening. There will be a couple of items on the agenda. We'll get to those in a minute. The chief is requesting a temporary appointment of a fire captain to fill a role that where the current fire captain is out on an extended leave, and this will just help alleviate the staffing issues around that. October 8th through October 14th is National Fire Prevention Week, and the fire department will be visiting local elementary schools to provide education in fire safety. The American Red Cross smoke alarm sweeps will be happening on October 14th and October 21st. Members of the Aberdeen Fire Department, along with volunteers from the American Red Cross, the Aberdeen Police VIPs, and explorers will be canvassing West Aberdeen to get these smoke alarms placed. The burn ban has been lifted earlier this month. The public is reminded that the burning of trash, yard waste, and the use of burn barrels is not allowed in the city. For up-to-date burning regulations, please call the fire department or visit the website. And for staffing update for the fire department, there's currently one vacancy, and interviews have been scheduled with firefighter paramedic candidates to fill that final position. Moving on to the police department, this evening, the activity report for 2023 is 24,147 calls. We are 9.5% below last year and closing that gap. Every meeting we get a little closer to last year's numbers, which were very high. We've made 8 proactive arrests for possession of methamphetamine since the drug laws went into effect on August 15th. It was nice to see that our drones were put to good use for some people that were inside a building downtown that didn't belong there, and with use of the drones, they were able to capture them and arrest them. And the roof project is in progress with subroof and membrane replaced and outer metal being installed now. So soon the police department will have their new roof. And regarding personnel, they are pulling names for entry-level police officer testing. They have all 3 openings currently. So moving on to our agenda items this evening. I have a request from Public Safety and the Fire Chief recommending that the City Council declare the city's 2001 burn trailer as surplus and authorize the Fire Department to remove it from its asset inventory. I move we adopt this report. Second.
Motion was made and seconded to adopt this report. Is there any discussion?
I have a question for Chief Golding.
Yep.
What happens to the burn trailer? Does it just go to the dump, or is there any salvage value in it at all, or?
So our hope is that we'll actually be able to sell it. Oddly enough, I do have 2 employees that keep bugging me about when we're gonna get rid of it. So they're hoping to maybe acquire it themselves. If not, gov deals, try to sell it. Then if it's not sellable, we have looked into the scrap of it, but there's no cost in it there. So our hope is to get some funds by some sort of sales.
I appreciate it, thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
The second item this evening, we have a request from Public Safety and Fire Chief recommending that the City Council declare the city's 2010 Ford ambulance vehicle number 152 as surplus and authorize the fire department to remove it from its vehicle inventory. I move we adopt this report.
Second?
Motion was made and seconded to adopt this report. Is there any discussion?
I assume that the typo where it says Ford, it says Ford.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the 4 is just a typo. City's 2010 ambulance.
Ford.
Ford and
Okay, you can add Ford in there.
so the capital they have.
Okay, any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
That's all from Public Safety this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, I wanted to point out that the police department, when they get the new roof on, they'll have a sale on rain catch buckets. Might want to be ready for that.
I have a couple.
Public Works, Chair report by Councilmember Shaw.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight, Public Works is bringing an informational report, letting you know that they're currently working on a multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan update. And, we are all encouraged the mayor and the city council, as well as the citizens of Aberdeen, are encouraged to participate in the update, review, and final review of the hazard mitigation plan through any of the available ways. And the report in our packet tonight details a little bit more about that hazard mitigation plan and how you can participate. If anybody has any questions, I think that there might be a member of the county hazard mitigation team on the call tonight, but if anybody has any questions.
Any questions from anyone on this?
I actually have a separate
Oh.
question. Would it be possible to turn her mic up? Because I can't hear her and I don't think anybody else can.
You're
It's
pushing it
It looks
in.
like it's broken because it's never done this before.
Oh, gosh.
It's all wobbly. Somebody must have bumped up against it. Sorry, I'll try and speak loud.
Thank you.
Wasn't me, I swear.
Check the video.
So I'll try and speak a little louder, and I will let you know that that's all from Public Works.
Okay. Thank you. Moving on to special committee items.
Yes, special committee items tonight. I think we have a handful of them here. First of all is a request from Personnel and the Human Resources Director recommending that the City Council approve the request to temporarily appoint Trevor Wheeler to Fire Captain effective October 1st, 2023. I move that we accept this request.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to accept this request. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Next is a request from the Parks Director and the Board of Museum and History recommending that the City Council assess the items donated into the museum collection. I move that we accept this request.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to accept this request. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
And along those same lines, a request from the Parks Director and the Board of Museum and History recommending that the City Council de-assess items in the report from the museum collection. I move that we accept this request.
A second.
Motion was made and seconded to accept this request. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And Mayor Shaver, I believe you have a proclamation for
I
something near and dear to my
do.
heart. Yeah, go for it.
Thank you. City of Aberdeen proclamation, American Red Cross Home Fire Safety Week 2023. During American Red Cross Home Fire Safety Week, October 8th through 14th, in the city of Aberdeen, the American Red Cross will mobilize volunteers and local partners to make the community safer from the threat of home fires. Home fires claim 7 lives every day in the United States, but having working smoke alarms can cut the risk of death by half. That's why the American Red Cross is rallying over 80 volunteers to install free smoke alarms and make at least 40 homes safer from this threat. Data collected from the US Census, the American Red Cross, and the National Fire Incident Reporting System show Grace Harbor County having the second highest risk from home fires of any county in Washington State. The National Fire Protection Association has determined this week as National Fire Prevention Week, and in alignment with the mission to reduce home fires, the American Red Cross will canvass Aberdeen neighborhoods with information about home fire prevention, work with youth to educate them in their role in preventing and staying safe from home fires. And on October 21st, 2023, we'll lead teams of local volunteers to install smoke alarms in homes that need them. This critical initiative will help protect families against home fires and prevent tragedy in our community. It takes all of us to make our city safer. We thank and recognize the Red Cross volunteers and partners who simple acts of kindness will provide help and hope in people's most difficult hours. Their support, volunteerism, and generous donations are critical to our community's resilience. Now therefore, I, Pete Shave, Mayor of Aberdeen, Washington, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the laws of our city, do hereby proclaim October 8th through 14th, 2023 as Red Cross Home Fire Safety Week. I encourage all residents of our community to reach out, learn more about their humanitarian mission, and sign up to volunteer. Thank you. And ask for the council's approval.
I move that we accept this proclamation, and well written, whomever wrote it.
A second.
Motion was made and seconded to accept this proclamation. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Is there any, I'm gonna open the floor for public comment again. Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment that didn't get the opportunity?
Randy Ross, 514 Bel Air Avenue. I'd like to thank again for the proclamation for the Red Cross. I am a local representative on the Puget Sound Board of the American Red Cross and appreciate all the efforts of the Aberdeen Fire Department, Police Department, and the community to make the home fire campaign a success. And hopefully we'll have many people attend and help out with the project.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay.
Just a quick question on the executive session. Is it needed for 60 minutes? Okay, how long do we need? It was
Start
flat.
out at 15.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
20 minutes, 15.
Okay,
15 minutes.
15. Perfect. All right. I move that we recess into executive session for 15 minutes. Action is not anticipated after the executive session. The purpose of the executive session is related to RCW 42.30.110I to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency matters relating to agency enforcement actions, or to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency litigation or potential litigation to which the agency, the governing body, or a member acting in official capacity is or likely to become a party when public knowledge regarding the discussion is likely to result in adverse legal action or financial consequences to the agency. Ooh,
I second that motion.
just forgot.
Motion was made and seconded to recess into executive session for 15 minutes. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? We are recessed. We're back here by 7:30.
I don't know how Chris, she's a saint.
Chief, when's the roof
Yeah.
gonna get completed?
I don't know what day, but it was gonna be under 30 days.
You can go back.
Did we say up to?
We,
I said 15 minutes.
Oh, you got
I
one.
think I do.
1 minute
12
left.
seconds.
12 seconds?
Got 1 minute.
1 minute.
No, it was 7:15 by my watch, and it's almost 7:30.
Yeah, we have 12 seconds.
12 seconds.
It's
Yeah, you're
7:30.
I move, we reconvene.
I second.
Motion was made, seconded to reconvene, and the recess would be over. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes, the recess is over, and I call the meeting back to order.
Mayor Shave, I move to adjourn.
Second?
Motion was made, seconded to adjourn. If there's no objections, I will adjourn the meeting.
Good night, everybody.
I would like to motion.